violence is basically a misuse of power. Somebody misusing their power over another person to get what they want, for them to gain.
If you put the issue of control, yeah, power and control, in the context of Solomon Island society, society Yumi, women are subordinate to men. And often the role of woman or the girl have always that which have more of a follower.
GBV, I could say, is a big issue affecting the country. This is, according to our findings, it boils down to how we grow up, how our local communities, traditional, cultural ways of doing things. So when we grew up with all these backgrounds of beliefs, and that is how it shaped us to become like this.
There are many forms of gender-based violence. There's physical, there's psychological, and there's sexual violence. They're all very serious forms of violence, and they predominantly are perpetrated against women. I think the figures are about 97% of victims, survivors, are women. And that's not to say that men don't get abused, they do, but the large majority of people that get abused are women and girls.
So it's in that context that Solomon Islands women are placed, and where men are also placed expecting to play that role, to be in control, to be heads of households. And that's where violence can come in, because often inside the home, if the woman have no cooking quick time and the food is not ready, which is her gender role or what society expects them for doing, man killing woman now, kicking pot, or, you know, everybody else in the home is in trouble.
You go when it is come back to time semia.
Sorry na, me fam meeting la chat ba.
You serve you na woman la house, you come back and you cook him keke.
Mami tali me finish la morning na.
You like talk smart to us.
Daddy no killing mommy.
Shut him out, fella.
Say, when you semia?
Me no man.
When it's come to gender, talking about roles, men can do what women can do, and women can do what men can do. Yeah? And when have come time for ability, women have got a lot of ability, and men got a lot of ability too. But then, understanding lo dana to follow no garam between to follow. Understanding ina to for need for to follow. Out to come from mind to follow. To for need for erasing whatever thing that those voices were him speak to follow, that every time to follow garam na growls against him to follow each other. Where him no make him to even feel free inside the home too. For to garam na that beautiful family and the good environment for their children inside the home. And when time come lo ability lo there, men him should sabe that wife lo me, if him sabe cooking, him raising children, that's her ability. And him should help him for identifying whatever ability lo there, for him pull him out come na potential inside lo him. Oh, my wife, him sabe how for cooking, I can help her to cook chicken to sell, and I can help her to do whatever, give him selling or semia. And if this fellow husband him vice versa, if this husband him no worker, woman identify him, oh husband do him some market there, or me find him empty for me helping him. Understanding him come lo the inside ability ya. Ability ya him cannot live without him understanding ya. Man him have to understand him wife, vice versa there.
One of the biggest challenges that we'll ever face is to try and combat and stop violence against women in any form of gender-based violence. And of course it's a behavioural change that is needed. In the Solomon Islands, I think it's very much about relearning how to have relationships with each other as well, because most of the abuse that happens is learned behaviour. So especially, you know, in families, you know, families will learn from each other how to behave with, say, a wife will learn how to behave with her husband from their family, you know, and that can lead to a lot of abuse. So there needs to be a major shift in people's behaviour, which is actually an incredibly difficult thing to do.
Now sometimes you will look at say, oh man, I create a problem here. No more, sometimes woman to dream, yeah.
So him now look me say me one fella leader look after community development. Him good that training should cover everyone, not only one side but both sides. It must be balanced now. So by focus on start area inside local communities, not only one development or some funding, but all aspects inside local community where you may live for him, yeah? Like him talk about two areas for you may not abuse of equality, yeah? Jury's right, even gender balance him too, we want interest inside local community, because if what kind of practices or something continue the community, then by looking start a problem inside local community, even church leaders, chief was a solve problem. So thinking about church, when him go inside local community, him telling everyone a holistic approach, means spiritual and physical. Him not idea about church today.
Wherefore you may address him is also to empower women, yeah, to be in control of their lives, yeah. So when you talk about violence, you cannot just look at the violence itself. You have to look at whether the woman is literate. You have to look at whether she's economically empowered to be in control of her own life, to be in control of the resources, to be in control of the decision making in the home.
My name is Solomon Sisimia, currently the Director for National Community Policing and GBV, the Gender-Based Violence Unit with Crime Prevention. This office is coordinating gender-based violence through family violence throughout Solomon Islands, as well carry out advocacy programs on all crime issues affecting Solomon Islands or the country.
One of the things that I think works in various other places is to actually have perpetrator programs which are attached to legislation. So that if a perpetrator is convicted, they might have the opportunity to be able to go on a program rather than be incarcerated. You know, so that's very much, and those are very women-centered. They're all about women's safety, and they're all about changing behaviour and attitudes of the perpetrator. And it's very much about keeping women and children safe. But at the same time, I think that everybody would agree that most women in abusive relationships don't want their relationship to finish, you know, they just want the abuse to end. So this is a way maybe of trying to keep families together, you know, at the same time as addressing violent behaviour and abusive behaviour.
I also want to say that message him must mean that we move with women's literacy, improving women's literacy levels, that women have increased access to education, that women are, you know, health and sexual reproductive health have improved, that they may respect him about health status for women, that we empower them economically, and that we promote women's leadership so that they can also sit in parliament and make decisions in partnership with our men. Because right now, their voice is not being heard. Yeah? They are silenced, and yet we constitute half of this nation's population. It means we deny half of this nation's human resources to make a difference in our lives.